Start the show. The Good Life with DT. It's Nicole. Welcome to the Good Life.
You are now listening to the Good Life Podcast.
Good Life. Good Life. These boys are crazy.
You are now listening to the Good Life Podcast.
Good Life. What? A Good Life.
Hey, welcome to the Good Life Podcast. My name is DT. We have today probably one of the most highly anticipated musical artists. We've always asked, who do you guys want to hear? And this is like probably the top dude we've heard. Today we got King ISO on, man. What's going on, brother?
How y'all doing, man?
Doing good.
Yeah, man. It's an honor. You know what I mean?
It's an honor for us, man. And we got Mr. Justin with us too from Nice Enough Entertainment.
How's it going, man? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming, man. So, ISO, man, you've joined the ranks of like 311, Terrence Crawford. When people hear the name King ISO, they get to say, "This is how I know ISO." That's dope.
Yeah, that is a blessing and very, very surreal. You know what I mean? I am a big fan of 311 and a big fan of Bud for sure. So, you know what I mean? Just to be in that conversation, especially coming up out of Omaha, it's mind-boggling and it's very, very humbling. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. So what's cool about this, I get my platform, so I get to be the guy to say, this is how I heard of King ISO. Yeah. But I've heard of King ISO way before he had the name King ISO.
Yeah.
We're going to take it back to 01, maybe 2000. Shit, man. I don't know. It was 01, 02. I don't know if you know that I know this. We're going to see.
Okay.
So I'm not going to try to, I'm going to try to remember the alias you went under then. If I get it wrong, correct me. But so I was in Bellevue East. I was kicking my boy Ricky, David Carr, rest in peace, David Carr, a bunch of other cats, and they were fucking around with this group called the Triads. Oh, he knows where it's going now. And I'll never forget, man, I had just started doing hip hop, and I was big headed, and I was pulling like 25, 30 people to a show out of Bellevue, and I'm like, I'm owning this city.
That's good numbers.
Yeah, that was good numbers, yeah. And then they brought, my boy Ricky and David brought through this little CD, and it was this guy, I remember it was Cartoon, and was it Killer Real?
Killer Real. Jesus.
And I remember they put it on, dude. And your voice came on. And I straight up, I just stopped. And I was like, dude, who is that? And they're like, oh, it's this cat. He's like 14 or 15. We were over there kicking in the Chateau apartments with him. I was like, how old is he? And they were like, he's like 14 or 15. And I was like, oh, fuck, we're in trouble.
Oh, that means a lot. That means a lot. That's crazy.
Dude, I remember hearing your voice, and at that moment, I was like, "That is the next superstar right there, dude."
That
Just
means
your
a lot,
cadence,
man.
bro.
That's crazy. So, so I think what happened with the Triads, I think they might have split up, right? And then my OG, you know, Snake Lucci, he joined a group with Ricky and another guy, and the name of the group was called Ethnics.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So Snake, I think Snake had just got out of prison. He was talking to me before he touched down, and he was like, I'm getting ready to do this music thing when I get out. And a couple months later, he had touched down, and he was able to move around. And he called me, and he was just playing music over the phone, and it sounded so dope. And I'm like, man, can I come to the studio with you one of these times? I pulled up to the studio with him. First time, I think I was like 13 years old, something like that. And his little brother, Gio, he went by Cartoon. He was like, I'm going to make you guys into a group. And it was Killer Real and Cartoon. My mom hated that name, by the way.
The Killer Real?
Killer Real, yeah, Killer Real. So she was like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? I was like, I'm killing them with the lyrics. Because she was like, okay. You know what I mean? And so, you know, yeah, that was crazy, man. And I recorded my first ever song there, and they have it too. Somebody out of that group has it, and I haven't heard it in a very long time, and I would appreciate it if somebody would email me that MP3.
I wonder if I have it, dude. If I got it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I think I might have it.
That shit is crazy.
And so, I don't know, after that, we went from, I mean, from there, let's just kick it off. Like I said, we're doing this as a special podcast for Omaha. We're not doing all just straight where you've been for King ISO, man. But, shit, on the way down, I asked Kenny, I was like, did you hear what he was doing when he was like the reality show? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, bro, it sounds like something you would hear on Shady Aftermath. And I'll never forget, man, when that song kicks out, man, and it says "Pass the popcorn" and that beat hits. Dude, I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about here, man. I told you you're walking into something you're not used to, man.
Facts.
But yeah, dude, that shit just kicks off, dude. Me and my boy used to drive around, man, and go out bar hopping, and that CD would just stay in the CD player.
Damn, man.
So we've been supporting since back then, man.
Yeah.
So when people talk about you now and they're like, King ISO, and I'm like, it's not like I'm not impressed what you're doing. I'm just not shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember hearing you at 14 and being like, this dude has a voice like deeper than 50 Cent at 14 years old. And this dude has a cadence better than 50 Cent at 14 years old.
Man.
Like, why? I'm not shocked at all.
That means a lot, man. Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, man, I think Snake, man, he was getting into a lot of trouble back then, man. And I'm glad that he's been out and being able to just enjoy his free life, you know what I mean? And be with his children and stuff like that. And we got to go on tour. We first tour that I got to take, the one that brought me into music on tour, and that was the Group Therapy Tour, which was my first ever headlining tour. You know, shout out to Strawstone. Nice enough entertainment, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's crazy, man, because I want to say a little bit after we did the Killer Ellen cartoon thing, he started his own imprint called Snake House Records.
Oh, yeah.
So there was this engineer, shout out Jay Keys, you know what I mean? We was messing with him a little bit, and Snake was like, man, like, I want to do an album. And I was like, a whole album? Because I was only used to doing slots, like just a couple songs here. You know, they had the mixtapes and stuff like that. So
you were doing what people are doing now on Spotify and releasing a single instead of album. Yep.
Yeah,
you did it back then.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. And then he sat me down and he was like, man, I'm getting ready to do this thing, you know, called Snake House Records. I need a full-length project. You know what I'm saying? So I started making my own beats. And I produced a whole reality show, and I changed my name from Killer Rel to Reality. My mom was very impressed with that one versus the former moniker. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, the reality phase of my life is like probably the most critical, because that's when I started to really delve into, you know, substance and, you know, in my content. I was talking about a lot of stuff. I was talking about, you know, current events or past events or things that were important, rather than just trying to be this metaphor god. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it was dope because that initial phase taught me that. And then it was like, okay, well, what are you saying? What are you saying in music? So there's been a evolutionary phase with all of my names. You know, Killer Rel was just the young guy that could rap, and he was, I want to kill everything. I want to murder everything. And then Reality was like, okay, talk about some real shit. You know, Snake put that album out, and it did exceptionally well, man. And he got into trouble shortly after that. And then things kind of fell apart for a little bit, even for me. And that's when I really started getting, you know, in trouble and ended up in mental hospitals and shit. You know, life happens really fast when you're a young adult. And then, you know, I want to say 6-7 years after the fact, I slowly start getting my shit together. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, the Twisted Insane situation happens. And we ended up going on the road a couple times and made enough noise to where Tech Nine was like, you know, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And that was crazy as hell. You know what I mean?
I'm about to say, man, yeah, from going from the reality show to Twisted Insane to King ISO, being on Strange Music, man, which is obviously the staple in the Midwest, man, being teamed up with Tech Nine. It's not like you're just on Strange Music. Like, you are a staple of Strange Music now. Like,
that means a lot.
That's got to be mind-blowing to you when that happened, right?
It's interesting what you said earlier, too, because it's like no one's surprised by it, but there are people who are like, when did this happen? You know, what do you mean? Like, he was out there, like, grinding with Twisted Insane and Brain Sick for a minute without knowing what it was going to mean, you know, risking everything. So it ain't like he just all of a sudden got signed, got a chain, and he's rolling around with Strange.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like, it's been a lot of work for him. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess I should have clarified that part, too. Yeah, not like...
Oh, no,
like,
it's okay.
Like, it was handed to you, man. Like, you released one song is Killer Real, and then one song is Reality, and then bam, Strange Music.
If anything, what you said starting back at 14, it's all a body of work that literally is who he is today. And I can say that as a person, too, man. So he's
Yeah, man. It's been a long journey, man. But you know, it's crazy when you blink and then you realize what you feel like was a long duration of time, but it literally just seems like yesterday, and it's just like, damn. You know, like I feel like the beginning of COVID was yesterday.
Bro.
And then you look back and you're like, damn, that's coming up on what, 5 years ago?
I know, dude.
You feel me?
You look at it from another way. It's like, yo, it's only been 3 years since our first national tour.
Oh yeah, that too.
We've done 3 other ones too.
Yeah.
So time is crazy.
It's only been 3 years since your first national tour?
First headlining.
Oh,
Headlining.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Group therapy, and I talk about it like it was the olden days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was not that long ago. Yeah.
So that's a good question. So at what moment, and let's say since when I brought it up, since like 01 till now, what moment clicked where you were like, this is bigger than I think it is? When did you have that moment? There's always a moment that clicks.
We'll be back after a quick break.
The Good Life Podcast with DT and Spicoli, proud to be partnered up with Sharp Painting. Over 16 years experience and family owned for 3. Put trusted hands on your interior and exterior painting needs. With summertime around the corner, have Sharp power wash your deck, stain your fence, and get 10% off. Now's the time to get outdoor ready. Sharp Painting. Reach out to them on Facebook for a bid. Sharp Painting LLC. That's SCHARFF Painting LLC. Or Sharp Painting@gmail.com. You can also call 402-637-9342.
That moment clicked for me when I was on tour with Twisted Insane, and we were, I think it was the Fuck 'Em All tour was the name of the tour, because we were on some like fuck everybody, you know, like nobody wants to fuck with us, we're gonna do it ourselves. That's what Twisted's mindset was, and I loved it because we were so focused on what we were doing as a unit that it made me comfortable with saying, because you know I wasn't thinking about any other thing. I wasn't thinking about, you know, let me back it up just a little bit. The reason why the reality show sounded like that, because Dr. Dre is the one who literally influenced me to make my beats. Okay. So all of my shit sounded like, that's what I was trying to get his attention. I was sending demos to him.
I got to ask you real quick, because this was a rumor back then. Mm-hmm. Was there any truth that you were talking to Shady Aftermath on that stuff back then?
So there was this guy that I exchanged emails with. I don't know how legit it was, because you got to remember, you know, MySpace and those shit kind of got it was kind of weird. But I feel like there was some connect with a guy that probably used to be over there. But I feel like once Snake kind of instilled in me, like, this is what we doing, we don't need anything else. Like, Snake was trying to do the strange music thing. Like, I didn't see it when I was a kid. I understood though, like, yeah, we Snake House Records, but I was like, man, what if we got like Death Row or somebody to come put some money on top of us, and you know what I mean? And he was like, nah, fuck that. Like, we go to Jay Key's house, I do the album in one day. You know what I mean? One day I did the whole album, just, you know what I mean? We had we had a whole lot of that, and then and then it was just, this nigga ordered like 8 pizzas.
For people that don't know, by the way, doing a whole album in one day is absolutely
crazy.
Insane.
I haven't did it since.
That's insane, dude.
But you know, like the young hungry me was like 16 years old, man, and I was like, man, I'm getting ready to do an album. He was like, yeah, we're gonna press it up, get hard copies, we're gonna put it in homers, we're gonna do it. And to me, I was like, this is like, you know what I mean? Like, this is it. So, you know, we do that, and we cut the record and we put it out, and we got such a major response that it was just like, holy shit, you know what I'm saying? So, what was I getting at? On the road with Insane. This is where it really started to click. So that moment happened when we're out there doing our thing. Cause like I said, like the younger me, I remember where I was at. I'm a little high. So the younger me was like, you know, I don't see myself pairing up with, I wanted to pair up with a major. I wanted to go to Shady Aftermath. Right. I wanted to, and then it was like, Snake started showing me like, man, you could just do this shit yourself. We could do it ourselves. You know, we don't need anybody. So then getting with Twisted Insane and him having a lot more success in that regard, from doing songs with Tech Nines and doing songs with, he had songs with a whole bunch of other, fucking Jelly Roll was on, the first album I was on with him. You know what I mean?
Jesus, dude.
And Jelly Roll was like just rapping, you know what I mean? So I remember just seeing him linked up with all these people, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing it like this. I was like, okay. So the moment that I knew it was real, because those tours were crazy. And what I mean by crazy, a lot of people don't understand this, and I'm glad my mind went here. Being on that road isn't what a lot of motherfuckers think it is, or what they expect it to be for them when they initially go out. You're not a fucking superstar. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like you're not getting the red carpet rolled out for you, bro. Like you gotta carry some shit to and from the venue. You gotta sleep in a shitty hotel. You gotta have your fucking van or lack thereof break down. You sometimes, or a good portion of the time, you're probably not gonna break even. You're gonna come back and be like, what the fuck am I doing? You're gonna have that moment several times out there when you first start moving around. So what bothers me about, you know, a lot of today's, you know what I mean? Like certain people that just, let's just say people that are like that, it's like you don't even know what a Strange Music or King ISO went through in their developing stages, you know, or any other label, you know what I mean? That's independently going crazy, because there's a bunch of them now. But getting out there was crazy, and it built this character for me. But there was a time I was discouraged, like, fuck, man, we're going to keep doing 10 people, 15 people. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Should I go to school? Should I? Nah, fuck that, you know? And then we get a call, because we started doing exceptionally well. We was getting like 50 to 100, you know, in some places, like Colorado and stuff like that, which has always been like the mecca for a lot of underground support. Tech Nine ends up calling Twisted Insane, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it was bullshit. I was like, you're right. This motherfucker ain't coming to our show. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't doing, like we ain't lit like that. And I was like, well, he's on Worldwide Choppers and he's on So Dope. I said, maybe Tech Nine will pull up. And I'm sitting there with the homie. We at the bar and shit like that, getting ready for the show. I had me a Washington Apple, I remember. You know, that used to be my shit. I'm sitting there, and then my homie Chris, who's one of my graphic designers, aka Inner Demon, he comes in and he's like, hey, somebody in the back wants to talk to you. And I was like, who? He said, come outside, man. And so I was sitting there, and I was like, man, I'm not going back there. I said, if it's who I think it is, I don't want to bother him.
Is this in KC?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to bother him. And then I think my homie Matt, he goes by MCE, he was there. And I think he hit me, and he was like, man, you fucking better go back there. You know what I'm saying? Because I was nervous than a motherfucker, man. And I was like, man, I slammed the drink, took a deep breath, and I walked out back, and Tech Nine was standing right there.
Dude.
And he was like, holy shit. And I was like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, he's like, I've been hearing a lot about you, man. People are saying you're the next me. You're like the new Tech Nine. And he was like, I'm here to watch your set. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Crazy.
I mean, what the fuck, dude?
Exactly. I said that shit a
if you
thousand
don't remember
times.
this, then it's totally cool, man. But like, I don't know why I never connected you to like so when I think of like Strange Music, I think of like darker shit, man, right?
Yeah.
And back in the day, I think it was on MySpace, me and you, there was at a time when I was, and if you remember, this is gonna be crazy, but I was thinking about doing like this Blair Witch style movie, but it was about Bloody Mary. Do you remember chatting about that back in the day?
I feel like I do.
And me and you chatted about it a ton, and you were like, bro, that would be dope. I want to do that. And like, you've kind of always been into like that darker scene.
Yeah.
I don't know where, and like, now that you know, when I think back to Tech's earlier shit with like Angelic and all that shit, dude, and it's like, when I heard like you went to him, I was like, yo, this makes perfect sense for this dude.
And it's crazy because I've always been a fan, you know what I mean? Like his whole approach to music really changed my trajectory creatively, you know? I was like, this motherfucker's all over the place. He got West Coast shit, he got East Coast shit, this motherfucker's chopping, he got orchestras and this shit. I'm like, this shit is, I've never heard anything like that. And I think I was like around, 12 or 13 years old or something like that. When I first heard him, it was like an Angelic sampler CD that I got. And I was like, I put it in and the motherfucking CD player, and I was like, who the fuck and what the fuck is this? This shit is some of the dopest shit I've ever heard. So that, you know, that really like got me chopping more, you know what I mean? Because I was already chopping because I was listening to Bone like a motherfucker coming up, like I wanted to be
You can't tell it all.
a Bone Thug.
Can't tell it all.
I wanted to be a Bone Thug, so that's like the early Killer Rel shit.
Yeah.
That's how I was rapping. They used to say I was like a Flesh and Bone or a Crazy Bone. I used to, you know what I mean? But then that stuff that you heard, that's when I was starting to get into the metaphor-y shit. That's when I was bumping a lot of the Slim Shady album and Marshall Mathers LP and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I got to start saying crazy shit, like witty, like dope shit. So it all started going in, like, what do you say? Mix some biggers, take some biggers, some Pac, you mix it up in the pot. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let's take some Tupac, let's take some Eminem, let's take some Tech Nine, let's take some Twista, let's take some Bone, let's take some Dr. Dre, and let's just see what the fuck we come up with, you know, with my own twist. And that's how that happened. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah, I meant to say that about the early shit, dude. There's only one rapper I've ever heard when the voice and the cadence and the lyrics went, and that was Pac. And then the second one was you.
That means
and
a
that's
lot.
straight up. And that's not just because you're here. I think I told you that when we were up in Sioux City a couple weekends ago. That the first time I heard you, I was just like, oh shit. Like, this dude's about to pop off.
That's what's crazy is you got all that influence, but there's just no doubt when King ISO's on the track.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and the amount of change from what we're talking about from reality to what he is now.
Yeah,
and I'm probably going to hop around now, but we're just going to get into some shit.
Yeah.
So you made the beat to the Chiefs fucking anthem. How fucking nuts is that, dude?
Crazy. And this is the wild part about it is it was so random that it just like, and that's how I know that maybe a lot of us don't need to try as hard to, because, you know, sometimes people sit down like, I'm going to try to write the biggest song of my career, or I'm going to try to, and typically those aren't the ones that go. It's the ones that you never expect to go, is what I'm learning. Because Tech called me randomly. He's like, hey man, I'm talking about the most nonchalant conversation ever. Hey man, I'm thinking about doing some shit for the Chiefs, man. You got like any beats or something laying around that you're not using? I say, oh yeah, man, I'll look. You know what I mean? And I was working on a song, and I actually was writing a song called like, it was something like "This Is How I'm Rocking" or something like that. And that's the beat that I had pulled up. And I was listening to it. I was like, you know what? Well, this sounds like some shit Tech will fuck with. So I just erased the hook that I had, and then I was like, let me send this beat to him. And that shit turned into Red King.
That's crazy.
I can't, dude. Every time I hear my kids are like under 9. Like I got 3 kids under 9, and now they're now the whole fucking Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing. their favorite singer's dating this guy, so I'll hear them in their room and Alexa, play Red Kingdom, and I'm like, there better not be no fucks in that song, man. And so I was telling my daughter, I was like, yeah, the guy coming on the podcast made that song. She's like, nah, and I'm like, yeah. So
that's dope.
That's crazy, man. To just think you did, and I mean, I don't even between that and the other thing I'm gonna bring up, I don't know which one's bigger to you, but I mean, you did a song with fucking Dwayne Johnson, bro. Man, shit just started happening, then I was just like, this dude is going nuts right now.
Yeah, man. All of it is and it's crazy. Same thing. Like, I think Face Off was just as nonchalant. Like, Tech sent me that song, and the crazy part about it is that song I think was already like almost like 1.5 years, close to 2 years old.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. You know, it was something that didn't get finished. I think he wanted to put somebody else on that verse that he knew, and they just never did it. So it kind of sat dormant for a little bit. And then he was like, man, we still got this dope song. He said, what did he say? He said something like, you know, we're going to finish that. I'm going to have Joey do a verse, something like that. And he was like, I'm thinking about having The Rock talking on the end of it. And I was like, he was like, yeah, but you never know, man. Like, cause he was on some like, he's too fucking busy. He's not going to want to do it. So if we can't get The Rock to talk at the end of it, I'll figure something else out, or we might just let the song sit. So then next thing you know, he ended up DMing The Rock, I believe. And then The Rock ended up getting the song. And then he was like, fuck that. I want to rap on it. So then he called me.
Did you have any idea that he could even rap?
No. No, you know what I'm saying? Fuck no. You know, that whole thing, I was, cause you know me, you know, I'm like, it's The Rock, bro. Like, this motherfucker got like 80 things going on at once. So I was like, And then I was like, I don't know, cause he was like, I'm thinking about putting somebody big on the song. So I was like, I think that's before he ended up saying The Rock just to talk. I think he threw like Eminem around or whoever else. So he was throwing some names around possibly. And then that happened, and then The Rock's response was crazy. You know what I mean? And then what actually happened, because it was like, okay, maybe he does talk or maybe he does rap at the end of it. But for him to go on a whole goddamn campaign with the song,
Right.
like to be on his Instagram, like, yeah, I'm listening to King ISO kill his verse like nobody else can. I think is verbatim what he said. I'm like, the biggest movie star in the world just said that.
Yeah.
About me, little old me from Omaha, Nebraska. Get the fuck out of here. You know, and then, you know, my monthly subscribers going crazy on Spotify and other places like that because of it. And he's such a dope individual. He sent my kids a whole wardrobe.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a really good, nice guy then.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, he messaged me. He's like, hey, I see you got some kids, man. What are their sizes? And we go outside one day. It's like boxes stacked. You know, can't even get the fucking front door open. And it's from Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dude. Yeah. Probably working on his 15th movie with Kevin Hart.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it was, that shit is so surreal, man. And I've kept all of those items too, because I'll never get rid of them. You know, but yeah, man, it's been crazy. And then I think around that same time, you know, Red Kingdom was...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just to watch it, to like, damn, the production side of it is going crazy. And then the rap side of it is going crazy at the same exact time. You know what I mean? Like,
did you perform down? I can't remember. Did you perform down in KC with Tech for the Super Bowl parade thing?
No.
You didn't? I know you were down there, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, not this one that just passed last year.
Yeah.
Well, the year before last now. When it was out there in Phoenix. That was crazy. We went down there and did a whole, you know, press run type of situation, and I was running into all type of motherfuckers. Some shit was so quick to where I couldn't even stop and get pictures, but it was mind blowing.
Yeah, I bet.
You know what I mean? Like I bumped into Trader Truth, absolute gentleman. You know what I'm saying? I bumped into I think we saw Michael Phelps, Shaq, fucking Snoop, Johnny Dang, Cardi B, Offset. It was just a lot. Like the motherfuckers just walking past you and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh shit, like this is dope as fuck. And it's dope to see Tech like interact, and they know what's up. They know what it is. You know,
has it got normal to you? Is it getting normal now, or is
it'll never be normal?
That's dope.
Because
that's
I'm
cool.
I'm such a fan. I still tell Tech, even we said like this, like, you know what I mean? We'll just be hanging out, and I'll be like, it still fucks me up that you're Tech 9, you know? And it just never, because you know I'm such a fan, bro. It's like for me, it's the equivalent of like living in like Gotham or New York or whatever the fuck, you know. And then you like, now I'm fucking with Spider-Man. I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh, a comic book reference. This is dope because I get to bring something up for comic book reference.
You feel
me?
We're
gonna see what you think on this. So we'll jump to the new album, man. Illdren. You released Nightmare, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as I heard it, bro, have you seen the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson?
Of course.
Okay. So they use that damn Nirvana song, right, as the theme. As soon as I heard Nightmare, I thought, why didn't they use this fucking song for that theme?
Oh man,
that song to me fits that movie perfectly.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, man, is that song is actually what inspired Nightmare.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I'm acing fucking questions today.
Yeah.
Bring it up, boys.
Yeah, cause my style is so eclectic. You know what I mean? I'm all over the place. You know, like I listen to Ozzy Osbourne a lot. I feel like his pen is sharp as it's ever been right now. You know, so I listen to so much stuff, man. And then, you know, Snake is such a heavy metal head. Snake, he'll be sending me stuff, and he's working on some new stuff that's like the direction Snake is going. You know, and what, like, we'll just trip off shit. You know what I'm saying? And my lady, she you know, she's all over the place musically too. And I'll just sit there and I'll just get inspired. You know, I'll start diving into catalogs that I didn't dive all the way into as a younger cat. And that one happened, man. I don't know what it was, man. I think I was driving, and it was probably like a late night, and it came on. I was like, man, I want to make something that kind of sound like this a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to it, I go back to that damn movie, and I'm like, yeah, this would be perfect, man.
Yeah. That would be crazy, huh?
So what, I guess we'll jump to nowadays, man, because so we went from, what you used to do to who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, back in the early 2000s, man, mental health was more of like, it was almost like if you said you had a mental health problem, people were like pussy, right?
Yep.
And it's completely switched now to where now you're like, no.
Yeah.
And it's like your concerts are almost like an outlet and a safe place for people to come out and be like, I'm going to relieve my shit with you. And when you see like a live concert of yours, that's how you rock the crowd, it feels like. Is that kind of what your intentions are with those shows?
Definitely, man. I feel like I'm ahead of my time in that regard, because back then I don't know what it was, and I can give a lot of credit to Pac. I can give a lot of credit to the musicians that I was listening to, even like Immortal Technique and people like that. I was listening to some shit when I was younger, and my stepfather, man, he made it a point for me to listen to what I was listening to, if you know what I mean. Not just, he's like, nah, what did he say? What is he talking about? Like he would be like, oh yeah, pause the fucking song, like in the middle of like Pac, Me Against the World or some shit like that. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Almost like having like a Bible study with hip hop, man.
Facts.
Yeah,
because he's like, you
it.
over there rapping this shit and you over here, emulating this shit. What is he talking about? So it was always substance. And the more I started writing this shit down and I'm reading it, like not just rapping it, I'm reading it. You know what I mean? Like Only God Can Judge Me or certain songs like that, and I'm reading it and I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. And then I started applying that method to my own music. Like, man, I gotta be open about what I'm feeling or what I'm going through. That's what I took from Pac, and I think that as hip hop started to progress after his like untimely demise and Biggie's as well, and a lot of what I feel like are very, very important factors of music. Music took a violent spin. It's always took a more violent spin, and it was kind of the standard. And then it was either ridiculously party heavy and drug usage, or it was just a lot of violence, and a lot of the hip hop, a lot of the message, a lot of the meaningful shit didn't really get any push like that. And I feel like that's the problem, So for me, I said this a month or two ago. I don't ever want to be the soundtrack to anybody's death. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the song you fucking die to, bro. I want to be the song that you live to, And when I was growing up and, even being like a young teen and starting to, leave the nest and shit like that and go out on my own, there's a lot of music I probably shouldn't have been listening to at that time. And I think that, because then it becomes the soundtrack to whatever you're going through at that moment. Why wouldn't that soundtrack be something that says, oh man, it's going to be all right. Let me not crash and burn, because a lot of music we hear now is crash and burn music.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. I'm gonna do this, or I just popped 2 of these and I just did. When I was doing that shit, it wasn't to make music about that shit and lie or sound cool. It was literally a coping mechanism, because I was in and out of fucking mental institutions and I had to take it. Per the board of mental health, like, hey, you got to take this shit and you got to come in. And since you want to, cheek your pills, like now you got to get an injection in your arm, or else your freedom is going to be stripped away from you and you'll be right back in here. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, I got to do it. I got to take accountability. I got to go to group therapy classes. I got to do this and I got to do that. And then I was like, well, I write my life. And so I just started to pour it out. And I did it more transparently when I got around Twisted, because I was noticing the type of the people, when the juggalos and the technicians and the motherfuckers start coming out, I had never like moved around. Like I was in like Spokane or something like that. And I was seeing motherfuckers that were coming up to me. I was like, man, I've been through a lot of shit, man. And I would do this song like Don't Let Go or something like that. And I noticed the immediate response. They were like, all that rapidy rap shit was cool, but that shit, like we need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers were lining up, crying. Like, yo, thank you so much. You just gave me like courage and strength to keep going. Like I've never heard no shit like that. Like do more of that. I started to hear that in rooms of 20, 30 people. and then to go to like do 5 or 10,000 with Tech, and then the whole crowd is literally screaming my name after doing that shit, lets me know that like that's what I was supposed to do the whole time.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. Yeah. It's like that's your therapy session now, is being on stage, man.
Yeah, yes.
And that's what I think that's why you have such a good following, man, is because it's artists like, you know, like Eminem is dope as fuck, man. But there's like one thing with Eminem, man. He's just like lyrical word game, right? And there's artists like you and like Atmosphere, where there's the lyrical word game, but there's a second layer to it, man, where it's like there's this emotional thing that if you can read through those lyrics, there's another story to it, man. And I think that's where people really jumped on board with you, and they were like, yo, like Jim Carrey and that song and everything else, man, is just people started hearing that side of you, and then I think that's when you were like, all right, I'm starting to help people with my music.
Fuck yeah, you know, and also like even for the record, man, like I remember M helped me not just even metaphorically, man. Remember how deep the Eminem show was when he got on his songwriting shit. And what else? Like I ain't gonna lie, man. Lose Yourself is one of the most inspirational songs, you know. And what I notice is that some artists, when they do go in that bag, you see what happens.
Like Kim, when he did Kim,
he was like
that song, you're
but
like,
you know,
whoa.
but yeah, you feel me. But like there's moments, you know, because you know Pac had his moments. Pac had his very very violent moments. He had his party and bullshit moments. But when he would do like that type of music, like that pain music, it just knocked all the rest of that shit out the way.
It does.
And you, not to say that those songs aren't as good, but like, come on, man, like I listen to Lose Yourself now and feel like I gotta go do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that one he got with Nate Dogg, Till I Collapse. You know, shit like that. Like, them songs, like they do something to you. They just make you wanna like persevere or knock down any obstacle or anything that's hindering you from being great. Like that type of music to me is like, you know, think about it like this. If we're in the club listening to some shit as a group of people, or even if we're sitting down, you know, curled up in a fucking ball somewhere, it's a ritual. You're listening to somebody speak to you on loop over frequencies and melodies. It's a ritual. So what would you want to be passing through your fucking ear canal when you're going through the worst and sparking train of thought? What would you want? I would want to hear somebody say, "You got this.
Yeah,
you can get through it. Fuck what they're talking about. Get your ass up and go to the gym. It's okay."
Justin, I mean, and this is just, I know ISO's your boy. I know that you help him with everything. But what other artists do you know that's really doing what he's doing right now? Can you think of one?
No,
I can't either.
There's nobody out there. The layers to it. You know, we could sit here and we could talk about how this music means so much, and then to bump back to, Red Kingdom too, and Face Off, and you know what? I wanted to jump in earlier on Red Kingdom. That's not just a Chiefs thing. I was watching a Texas Tech game the other day.
Well, and it's Huskers, right? Too.
Yeah.
Any team with red or the name red, like
Real
at the Texas Tech March Madness game, they played that shit. And
Sounds like ISO needs to call for some royalties.
We don't really do politics over here, but like, I know the Trump fans
that shit was crazy.
Really love King.
Hey, that shit was.
Hey,
that shit fucked me up, man. When they played that shit on CNN.
Yeah,
they did.
Man,
when he was going through the impeachment bullshit, whatever the fuck it was, and she was like, and he has this what does she call it? Like a rally up song,
his rally's on Red King.
Yeah, they start playing it on CNN.
Like, no way.
Yeah, bro.
I called him. I was like, I think this is good.
Yeah.
You might catch some flack from some people on this one.
Yeah, you know, I was like, because at that time, you know what I mean? They made that motherfucking song number one. That song was number one. And then I was like, well, shit, thank you, shit. You know, I'm not into I don't get into that shit. I don't get into the politics. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, that motherfucker's number one though.
Yeah, exactly.
And they playing my shit on CNN, and they playing my shit.
The name, you just say, hey, my anthem was for the president of the United States.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like he's playing that shit in the White House. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's like, yeah, I really love that song. I'm like, this is the president that just said that shit. That's my shit that I made in my basement. You know what I'm saying?
Just like they say in business, having different revenue streams and different, like, having like different things that matter, like the fact that you can have that out there, and then you can, you know, that relates to that people that can, you know, we can draw so many things back to King ISO. And if I'm talking to a 10-year-old, I'm like, you like The Rock? You ever heard? Your grandpa
Shout out
like
to the
Red
Rock.
Kingdom, but you like Face Off, huh? Like, well,
honestly, that's what's really dope about you. So like you can relate it to so many things. If people bring up Crawford, you're like, oh look, here's ISO kicking with Crawford, or here's ISO with the Rock, or here's
bring
ISO
up
with the
fitness
Chiefs.
too, man. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Let's be honest, ISO's like a fitness icon out here. Man.
Oh yeah,
That means a
real
lot.
quick. Spicoli's got the flu. That's why he's not here. Spicoli wants to know, man, how the fuck you get so shredded? That was his question. He wanted to know.
You know what's crazy, man, is I gotta give a shout out to my my coach Chet. You know what I'm
Chet
saying?
Fortune?
Yes,
Hell
my
yeah.
brother, man. And it's crazy because we kicked it doing music with the homie Saint Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Saint Mike,
Yeah,
man. That's
yeah,
the guy.
yeah. That's my brother, man. He was another person that had me under his wing. You know what I'm saying? You know, Chet, he ended up just jumping into it, and then one day he was working at like First National Bank, regular dude. Next thing he popped out, I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, I'm doing this fitness shit now. His voice got deeper and shit. Got this Gym Warrior Fitness. Come check me out. And I was getting into a lot of trouble back then. And he knew. So like there would be times when I was walking around down here, you know what I'm saying? Aimlessly. And he'd be like, man, I'm coming to get you, man. I'm going to bring you to the gym. That's how it happened. Chet was like, hey, man, we're going to do some pull-ups. We're going to do this. We're going to keep you busy. Over the course of time, it was just like I started falling in love with it even more. And then he took me with him to compete in the Arnold Classic. With there's a guy who is a part owner of Iron Heaven Gym, Nick. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to BR Physiques. He was prepping Chet. So I got to watch the whole prep. And, you know, this is me just not even really taking the gym seriously at that time. And we go to the fucking Arnold Classic, and there's like 250,000 people there. And they're all fit. And they're just like a big seminar, but it's a competition. It's like, oh shit, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh shit, there's there's all these. Oh shit, there's Jim Stepani. Oh shit, like I've had your energy drink before. I've had your protein bar. You know, Cass Martin. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm like these are the motherfucking like real deal people, and they're just standing there, bro. Like it's one big ass meet and greet. Aside from the competitions, you know, like the powerlifting, there's so many different divisions. You know what I'm saying? Men's physique, women, bikini, you know, wellness, whatever. It's all of this shit going on at the Arnold Classic. And I bump into motherfucking CT Fletcher. And that shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I bump into he's just standing there. It's just like, and I look up, I'm like, oh shit. Like I watched this movie, The Magnificent Obsession, I think on either Netflix or wherever it was at. And that really made me like, okay, I need to start. Like it changed my thought process of like this motherfucker was willing to die behind this shit, you know. And it wasn't just the love of bodybuilding or looking good. It was because it was a healthy thing for him to do, and he was passionate about it. And his whole brand is centered on saying you still have to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? So I met him and we got to, you know, chopping it up and stuff like that. And next thing you know, like we just became really good friends, which is crazy.
Is he meaning to be funny in those one videos when he's like, I command you to grow and shit?
You know what's crazy is like he has a very, 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 very good sense of humor. That man is hilarious. But when it comes to that shit, he ain't playing with that shit.
Oh, he's not.
Yeah. So like his whole philosophy is just like, you know, mind over matter with everything. Like, I control you. Like, I'm going to make you grow, motherfucker. Like, I control my body. Like, I am the one in control.
Okay.
It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. Because, you know, sometimes when, you know, we're in the gym, our body give out. And we be like, nah, I've had enough. His philosophy is, no, I'll tell you when you've had enough. You know what I mean?
He's crazy, dude.
Man, in such a fucking good
Yeah,
way.
he's a
You know
beast,
what I
dude.
mean? Yeah. Much love to CT Fletcher, man.
Man, we should probably talk about what's coming up for you guys, man.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good idea, man. We sit here and chat for hours.
Right,
I
right.
say that
yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
Man, what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Be Well? You want to talk about the tour? What you tell me, Justin?
Man, they're synonymous. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what we're doing, everything is for a reason. So, first of all, man, I could sit here. I'm with ISO all the time. I could sit here and listen to him talk, man.
Yeah.
So
My brother.
I'm a talkative motherfucker. So yeah, you aren't gonna hear a whole lot of me today. But we do have a big tour coming up. It's the Illdren Tour. We like to tour on, you know, we understand business. So we're touring on behalf of the album that came out, the album that's killing it out there. Very important. And this is also kind of the official launch of Project Be Well in a way to where this is Project Be Well Presents. Yeah, Nice Enough Entertainment's behind it. Yeah, we are super lucky to be connected to Strange Music. Like, we have all these things, but Project Be Well is the platform. And we look forward to rolling that out in a way to where we show what we've been doing, but also show how we can present other people and present other solutions and just kind of build this thing that we've already been working on, man. Like we've been working with the materials behind the scenes. So this is it's fucking exciting, man. So so I would rather you kind of tell your vision behind Project Be Well though.
Yeah, man. So Project Be Well, you know, I got to give a big shout out to Travis O'Gwen, man. I was going through a tough time, and he helped me create it, and you know, like, you know, gave me 100% ownership and all of that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey, man, I know you got some guys that you're trying to help out and stuff like that. He got it to where he can pretty much distribute any artist that I go get, you know, as a subsidiary label under Strange, like Shady Aftermath,
That's
some
awesome.
shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So he put that within, he structured that within our deal with Tabo the Truth in mind. So shout out to my brother Tabo, who's been with me since the beginning too. You know, and it was just dope. I remember I brought it to the table and he was like, holy shit. And I said, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so we need to start building up awareness and getting this to where we could properly roll it out. And now, you know, you hoodies and beanies and hats, and people are seeing the logo more and more. They're seeing artists, you know, coming along. You know, I got this, shout out to my brother Matt Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? He's incredible. He's on the song Feel with me, with Tech Nine. He's just such an amazing human being and person, and it's like we're building a strong team. Strawstone on behalf of like the touring side, the booking side, the man does every goddamn thing. When we're out there, he'll fuck around and do merch for a second. He'll take pictures. He'll even drive when he has to, and that's kind of like the foundation we've all built together. Because we went out when they were the first time we went out. Hold on, let's take it back even further. The first time me and him did something together, it was a sellout. You know what I mean? At the Lookout Lounge, wasn't it?
Yep, World War Me party, man.
Yeah. So wasn't nobody really booking me in the city like that. And I was, you know, I just got my deal, and it was just like, you know, it was like I was trying to find my spot. I didn't really have nobody. You know what I mean? Because typically what a lot of promoters would do here, they'll book like the big motherfuckers, the Kevin Gates. And I'm like, shit, I ain't nowhere near that. You know what I'm saying? I just got my deal. And he hit me up. He like, man, what's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we got this joke where we both considered ourselves public enemy number one at times. Like, a lot of people hate me, a lot of people hate you. Like, that was like his approach. He was like, why don't we join forces and fuck shit up? I said, let's do it. So I was like, man, I'm getting ready to drop this album. And man, that show is so important to me. You know what I mean? Because number one, the amount of money we made was fucking crazy. And then I just remembered performing that show, and at the end of my set, I was thinking like, I don't know when we're ever going to be able to do live music again after this, because everybody was starting to cancel their tours. Everybody was like, you know what I mean? Venues.
That was the last weekend before COVID. That was March 13th, 2020. We sold out the Lookout Lounge. We came together. And then they fucking pulled the rug out.
So you were probably one of the final shows.
We were. Yeah. And that weekend was all my shows, and but that was the best one. And so we came together like, oh, we could really do this. Yeah. And then we couldn't do this. Yeah. And, so, man. You know, I listened to everyone's, this is inconvenient COVID stories. Man, what we had to do and the way we had to keep ourselves and ourselves straight during COVID, knowing what we could do if we were allowed to do it again. Right. Because right now that seems like a silly thought. What do you mean do it again? No, there were doubts that we would ever get to do live music was changing forever. Yeah. I still see the effects of it in the industry, but we waited, and then, you know, to jump forward to group therapy, you know, we were the only tour out there at that time. We were the canary in the cave. I was all of a sudden, I was like, who is it? I was having A&Rs and big labels following me all of a sudden just to see if we were going to die, I think. So they could see when they were going to send things out.
And the crazy thing about it, none of us got COVID. None of us got sick or nothing like that. We gloves and mask up. I remember that was probably the most intense I ever was when it came to human contact.
Yeah.
I remember people like, ISO, can you take your mask down for this picture? And I was like, fuck no. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like she was pregnant at the time, so it was a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
I just literally remember we got photos with the masks on.
Yep.
And, what was it? 50? Not even 50% capacity. I don't even think we could do at venues, but we made a banger though, and it worked. It worked, bro. You know, and I just remembered me and him, like our conversation after that, we was like, man, we just did some legendary shit because we didn't think we were gonna pull it off.
Right.
And shit, we broke even. You know what I'm saying? The label got their cut. Me and him. You know what I'm saying? All the homies got paid. And
that was proof of concept.
Yes.
Like you have never seen before. It's like, okay, take this little bit of science that we learned from this and let's. I think we were ready to build the next tour on the way home.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah. So then you fast forward to like, you know, us doing it again. You know, we did Get Well Soon, and we kept moving, and then, you know, the creation of Project Be Well, and it was just like, you know, I needed my own thing. You know, I needed like what you know, I got homies that I'm putting together, and that's pretty much what Project Be Well, you know, is. You know, it's me. You know, it's people like Table, even my lady. You know, my brother Straw, and I mean you know, obviously the mantra behind it is think well, speak well, be well. You know, have positive thoughts. You know what I mean? Speak greatness into the universe, and that's what you end up being. Think well, speak well, be well. You know, and it's not just music. You know, there's gonna be fitness. There's gonna be you know, maybe some supplements that end up coming with you know, joining up with these fitness guys, which definitely will happen. Obviously there's clothing, there's music, there's gonna be, you know, mental health seminars and stuff like that. We're gonna do a lot. We're gonna do a lot with Project Be Well. And you know, it's just dope, man, because number one, the support has always been there and it's doing nothing but growing. And you know, man, it's a positive thing, you know. Sure. So yeah, man, yeah, we got that, and then the album, you know, Illdren, you know, we're getting ready to tour on that. The album is it's one of my most personal works, and it, you know, talks about a lot of stuff we just talked about, like everything pretty much stemming from my childhood, you know, up to now. And I feel like a lot of us as grown up individuals, we didn't get a chance to deal with any of that. And I feel like there's a lot of people out here that, you know, I get into it with so many people, and, you know, me, I like to step back. I like to shut up in arguments. You know what I mean? So where I could just gain a sense of understanding. You know, a lot of people they don't argue to, you know what I mean? Some people don't listen to understand. They listen to just respond.
Exactly.
I started listening to understand. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, let me try to understand. And you get to hearing people, they're like, man, you know, I you know, can't nobody tell me I've been through this and I've been through that, and when I was young, this is how I learned, and I'm sitting there like, you keep talking about what you went through as a kid. We're not even talking about being adults. You're still stuck in that plane of existence, you know, which is, it's not a bad thing to still be there. At least you're still, you know, feeling it. You didn't forget about it, because it is important to your developmental stages and you becoming to who you are now. You know what I mean? A lot of that shit we went through, our fucking prefrontal cortex wasn't even all the way fucking developed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, a lot of us went through some traumatic shit. A lot of us are still sick dealing with that shit. And there's a lot of people who have trauma bonds and became friends within this shit. And I feel like for me as a young one, I feel like we were Illdren. It was the people that did get something put on them as well as the people who don't have a diagnosis. Because I don't mean you ain't dealing with some shit just because a professional.
It's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of me and the kids on the block and you know, even the gangsters, the weirdos, the gothic, but like I was cool with everybody, you know, and I could relate to everybody. And I was just like, man, we all got some crazy shit going on. And then the concept Illdren just was born, you know what I mean, within that thought process. And it makes, you know, as you listen to it, it's broken down into 3 sections, you know, infant, you know, teenager, adult. I feel like so many people could relate to that because it just makes you look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, you know, the root of a lot of shit is coming from us being younger. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez Louise, man. We got into some Dr. Phil shit.
For real, man.
That's dope, though, man. That's
Yeah.
super badass, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I seriously could sit in here for like another 2 hours, no problem. We're going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
I got you. Yeah, hell yeah.
But let's talk about 420 real quick, man. Because that's the hometown show, so.
Yeah, we tend to build things around here with Omaha in mind when we do these tours, and we've done a couple 420 shows together now, and we're at the waiting room, man. We started at the Lookout Lounge, RIP, and now we're getting to the point to where, you know, we might be looking for a bigger venue at the next couple times. So
yeah.
420 King ISO Illdren Tour, the hometown tour. We need to sell it out, man. We need everyone there. I sound like a promoter all of a sudden. Gosh darn it.
That's your job or something.
Gosh
Yeah, pull up.
darn it. But
Pull up. Yeah. Illdren Tour. You know, Lex Bratcher going to be with me. Table the Truth. We got Unconventional Kings. Obviously, sounds by DJ Dot. My man Strawstone to be out there with me. It's gonna be a good one.
yeah, it's gonna be
I
great.
can't wait, man. I'll be out there. I've never gotten to see you, man, since you
Since
were
then?
young, man.
Oh yeah, this is dope.
Since you were young. I didn't even get to come out to the Hollywood Undead one you did here, man. So.
Oh man, shout out to
I
Hollywood
wish.
Undead. That was probably one of the dopest shows I've ever did. That's one of those. That's another one of those moments.
I saw that picture.
Yeah, that's another one. That was a moment, and the first time I got to do Red Rocks those are like big moments.
And, you know, this is Project Be Well Presents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That to me, you know, I love my brand. I love what we're doing at Nice Enough, but to be so involved in this and be able to put Project Be Well Presents, and, you know, we didn't get a chance to really touch on it, but you're going to see some Project Be Well Presents around here in some other markets where it's not an ISO show.
Yeah.
But you better believe
Yeah.
ISO is going to show up and show support.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you know, we're going to give that platform and use what we're building and keep building, because we can't do it alone, man. It's
For sure.
open borders when it comes to mental health and
Yes.
success.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, man. To kind of wrap this up, man. To go back to what you said, like, I mean, for me talking earlier from like 2001 when, you know, in the most respectful way, I'm glad you didn't blow up in 2003 because, you know, you had to go through some shit
Yes.
to make
Me
ISO
too.
what you are now, right?
Yes, I feel the
So-
same way, man. I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people, when real quick, when people say, "Hey, man, right now," I feel like there's nothing like universal timing. I feel like, I was nowhere near ready then as I am now, or mature, having a number one appreciation for it. You know what I'm saying? All that shit I went through makes me appreciate all of this so much more. That's why I'm just so down to earth when I talk to people. I'm like, man, I remember I had nothing.
Yeah.
You know
right,
what I
yeah.
mean? I was, burning CDs, and they were like, nah, get that shit out of here. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like people were lining up to buy it, and it's like, oh.
you know what's crazy to me to watch? Like, even starting with the group therapy tour, to where, ISO has a background. You didn't come from, you came from a struggle a little bit, and being in a strange city, and, we're eating or something, and there's, a strange character over about 15 feet looking at us. And, and I remember the first ISO would be like, who the fuck's that? You know what I mean? And I'm like, let me go find out. And then, now I'm used to it, but it's like, he wants an autograph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that nothing makes me more fucking proud than to go somewhere, and he don't look for attention. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it finds him, and he's the most humble dude. No matter what walk of life you're from, a picture, a thank you is gonna happen, and I couldn't be more proud to work with someone like this, man. It's a
And
absolute
that's how
honor.
we'll end it, man, right there, man. City of Omaha, I stayed in Nebraska, man.
Yes. Yes.
You're claimed as ours now. You're up there with 311, like I said, in Crawford, and your name gets brought up, and everyone from Nebraska has a story about how they know you, man.
That means
And
a lot.
that's dope as fuck, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on. We're gonna have to do this again, man, when you get
Yes.
back off tour or something.
Yes,
Thank you for having
definitely.
us, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
All the way. We're gonna fly out and run it wild.
Until the midnight hour. All the way to the midnight hour. All the way we go.